What's up, fam? So I want to make a really quick video about how to rekindle trust after it has been broken. First of all, trust can be broken by something as extreme as infidelity, or something as small as saying you were going to be going to HEB but stopping at another store on the way there, right? Trust is one of those things that is super important in terms of relationship sustainability and longevity. And trust is so deep because it's not just about the physical things, it's about the emotional safety, the spiritual safety. It's like, can I trust you to hold me emotionally? Can I trust you to be gentle and soft with me? Can I trust you to think of me when you're out living life? Like, trust is just one of those things that is just so deep, and it is so necessary in relationships, and it's fragile. And when I say it's fragile, I mean it can be easily broken. It can be easily broken. And one of the ways that trust, man, trust is just so deep. Trust is one of those things that you never take for granted, right? So the number one thing that has to happen in order to rebuild trust is, one, you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? Is the relationship, is the connection, is what you've built worth healing what was broken or what was fragmented? Is it worth reestablishing? That is so important. I see so many times people try to coexist in a relationship, try to rebuild that trust, but something deep inside of them doesn't feel like the connection is actually worth that level of inner work. Because rebuilding trust, it is treacherous, right? It's treacherous for the person whose trust was broken and for the person who is trying to regain that level of faith, right? And so you got to know if it's worth it. Does it actually matter? Does this connection add so much value to your life that you want to figure it out, right? So I was just talking to a friend who had some issues within her relationships, and trust was one of the things that kind of is now shaky, right? But when she looks at what they have within their relationship, when she looks at how much they've been able to grow together, how much they've been able to heal, what they've been able to manifest, and the love that they have, she's like, it's worth it. So she's willing to do the inner work. She's willing to forgive. She's willing to let go. She's willing to go to therapy, do the coaching, have the hard conversations. She's willing to do those things because the connection is worth it. If the connection is not worth it, going through the ups and downs and the emotional roller coaster of rebuilding trust is just too much. So that's number one. Number two, when it comes down to rebuilding trust, is vulnerability. It's transparency. It's being so open with what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you've been experiencing. It is being afraid to express that truth, but doing it anyways because you know it's the very thing that will build this new level of trust. It's the very thing that sets the foundation. And so sometimes when trust is broken, it can be so hard to just let it all be known, put it all out there on the table, because it will show an in-depth look into your mind, into your emotions, into your spirit. It just reveals everything. And so that vulnerability is necessary. Another reason why it's necessary is because it's only when we get super vulnerable, super detailed, that we really feel the truth of a situation. If a person is still hiding, not being vulnerable, not disclosing the truth, deflecting, if a person is still doing that, they don't really want the relationship. They don't really want the level of healing and the depth that is required to have something that is sustainable. So number two is going to be gut-wrenching, open, letting yourself be seen vulnerability. And that comes on both sides as well. Even the person who is needing to rebuild the trust within themselves and become more trusting, they have to be honest about how they feel. And then the person who have broken the trust has to be honest about what actually happened, why they did, what they were feeling, what they were thinking, right? The struggle that they are feeling right now to even rebuild. Like, these are the things that just have to happen. The third thing that is super important when it comes down to rebuilding trust is having these practices, these disciplines, these thought processes that you do as a couple or you do within your family that helps with that, right? And so a lot of times for people who have experienced infidelity, they have to be intentional about having more intimacy, about being closer to each other, not just sexually, but like holding each other or having those vulnerable conversations. They have to be intentional to do that so that whatever created that space in the relationship for that infidelity to happen doesn't happen again. And so having these practices and these disciplines is one of the things that, one, lets both people in the relationship know that we are intentional about growing. We are intentional about healing. And we're actually showing up. We want this thing to work, right? But number two, the practices and the disciplines that are put into place, they need to be things that start to mend and heal the person who is needing to rebuild their trust heart. So it may be more hugs. It may be weekly talks, like whatever it is that respects both people, right? You just got to do that, right? So those are three things that I have observed as ways to rebuild trust after it has been broken. One, determine if it's worth it. Number two, crazy vulnerability, openness, transparency, putting everything on the table at all times. And then lastly, a trust building practice or discipline that helps both people to nurture, rekindle, and love on one another in a sacred way. Let me know in the comments if y'all have any other ways of rebuilding trust. The new Love Life readings are now open. Go get them. If you've been struggling with trust, love, connection, safety, chemistry, these readings are for you. And then, of course, the New Love Life event is happening on February 14th, right here in Houston, Texas, at the Shrine of the Black Madonna, open to singles and couples. We're going to be talking about trust, love, sex, sensuality. We're talking about all the things that are so necessary in order to develop a relationship that lasts.